my channel. In today's video, I'll be diving into how to clean, maintain, and adjust your coilover suspension. This is my 2013 Mercedes Benz C-300 4MATIC. I am running the BC BR series coilover. And for all of you wondering, in case you're going to be putting coilovers on your Mercedes, your part number is J21. I've sold my old wheel setup, as you can see, with my stock wheels. And first thing we have to do is take the wheels off. I'm going to be putting the car up on jack stands on all four corners. That way I'm staying safe and can get all of the coilovers off in one shot. Alright, so let's take these wheels off. And check out what the coilovers actually look like. So I've had these on here for 2 years about. And there they are. So there's shock body, your lock nuts, spring, boot. Looks to be in fairly good shape, no complaints. So I've got all the wheels off. Check out the rears. So you have a separate shock and spring setup for the rear of the Mercedes instead of a full strut. So looks like we got some corrosion up here, and mind you, these are only 2 years old. I'm in Ontario, Canada, more specifically Windsor, so the actual perch with the spring and the lock nuts don't look too bad. They should clean up pretty easily, but this is why I wanted to do the maintenance and do a video to show you. I used to have the BR type on my Cobalt SS 2009, and it was the same thing. Within 2 years, they pretty much looked exactly the same. They were pretty rusted. They need to be cleaned, oiled. There was the paint flaking off of the springs. So I popped the hood. I have 3 nuts, or I should say bolts, holding the top hat of the coilover with my dampening adjustment. So those are gonna have to come done. And I have a bolt here, another bolt for my spindle, and my sway bar end link will have to come off, and that will drop out of the car. So as for the rear, if I remember correctly, there were 2 bolts that attached the top of the shock to the frame, and there's 1 bolt down below that attaches to the control arm. I installed these, like I said, 2 years ago, so I don't really remember exactly how it went, but pretty sure that's all it was. I had to drop the sway bar rear end link to get enough movement to get the spring and perch into its location. So I know the rear gave me trouble last time installing them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the same thing taking them back off. So we'll give it a shot and lay everything out on the table and show you guys what it looks like, and I could probably clean that up too. That's so dusty. Alright guys, this is where we're at so far. So I've removed the two lower spindle bolts that attach to the actual shock body. Those are free. Our tie rod end link is also free, which attaches here. And the only thing left to do is remove the top three bolts, and this whole shock assembly will drop right from the bottom. So let's get to it. Voila. Alright guys, there it is. Got both the front struts off of the car, and I must say they're in pretty good condition overall. I mean, the threads are good. I don't see any rust. The springs, I got some gunk there, but I mean, for the most part, everything looks to be in really good shape. Seals are nice, no oil. Top hats are pretty good. I got a lot of residue here because I originally put white lithium grease on the dampening screw just so that it wouldn't corrode. So now that that's done, let's tackle the rears. So a message from today's sponsor, myself. When I'm not wrenching on the car or stancing out cars, I enjoy ice cold beer. If you're like me, and many like the others around your surrounding area, crack open an ice cold beer and give this video a like. Alright, so I mentioned before there's two bolts I thought that were on the top. So I think I'm just going to remove the actual shock itself to clean that area up. The spring and the perch actually look really good. I don't think I'm gonna bother taking that off. I'm just gonna power wash everything and probably try to put some grease or like white lithium grease on it to help with any further rusting. So for the back, I'm gonna have to pull back this liner to get to the top of that shock mount. So let me do that real quick. I have two 12mm nuts. I'm just going to loosen them off. I'm not going to take the nuts off completely. That way, when I have the lower end of the shock loose, it's not just going to drop out of the car. I can get down there underneath and support it while I probably get the girlfriend to help me remove the two nuts. Now with the top bolts being loosened off, I have a plastic protective cover on my lower control arm. So I have these little Christmas tree clips that I have to take off. One here, there's one over here. I have two on the other side that you can't see in this area, and one in the front. So I'm going to remove those so I can get access to the lower bolt on the actual strut itself. So just bear with me for a moment. Sometimes these things are a pain, and they're brittle, so they're break, so you want to be very careful. And it doesn't help that there's not a lot of space for my car to really get this done. Chances are your car, whether it's a domestic, import, a KDM, JDM, you know, whatever, it might not even have this protective shroud. I think it might just be like a more German European type thing. So there you go. That's off. And now I have access to my lower bolts. Hold on, my camera's stuck. So this is what I want to get to. That guy right there. This one. That holds the shock. So I'm going to do that. Undo that. And the whole shock itself, I'll be able to compress. If you have the piston, I'll just compress that down and I'll be able to slip it out of the car. Alright, so I got my girlfriend helping me. She's holding the camera. So I have the lower bolt removed. The shock is just resting in place. So I'm going to remove the two nuts so that I can compress the cylinder, the piston itself, and get the shock out of the bottom. So come with me this way. Alright, so I got my hands up on top of the spring, or the shock, so I'm pulling down to compress it. I'm going to hold it and lift the shock body up and out, let go. Easy as that. Alright, so I'm having problems with my spanner keys. The lock nuts to the bottom of the shock collar is completely seized up. I did manage to get this one free, as you can see, using my wrench and a pipe wrench on the lock nut. So I'm going to try this one, video it, and see if this one will work. I don't know if that broke free or if I just screwed up the thread. Nope, did not break free. They are really on there tight. Alright guys, so with a little persistence, I did manage to get the ring free. As you can see, it is spinning. And as you can see, I have mangled the threads pretty decent just by trying to get that loose. So I don't recommend doing it this way, obviously. If you have a vise that you can use, I would recommend doing that. I will be ordering a new lock ring, obviously, because that one's completely destroyed. I might just order two, actually. I'm going to order both of them, just so that they're new when I go to reinstall it. But anyways, there it is. Alright guys, so to end today's video, just a little recap. I have ordered the lock rings to replace the ones that I have mangled. Struts are out of the car. I am going to be setting up a table inside and videoing the whole process of how to disassemble and clean, reassemble the struts. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Give me a like, and why not subscribe? Thanks. See you in the next video.